What is up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Macho Talk Sports. I'm your host, Miguel, aka Macho, and today is a good one. We're talking some NBA playoffs and how this is shaping up to be an all-time great playoff so far. Jason Kidd is out in Dallas, and we'll discuss where he might go next. We'll also get into some baseball as the Braves currently run the league so far, but are they the real deal? And of course, we got to mosey down to Pittsburgh and talk about Rodgers calling it quits after this year. All that and more. Thank you all for coming. Macho Talk Sports episode 22 starts right now.
What Macho Talks Sports now.
The boys are back in town. How's it going, fellas?
Team sucks. Nothing on offense is working. Joey Bosa is looking like prime TJ Watt. Why the fuck do I root for this team? Am I a bad father for making my son a Jets fan? This is ridiculous.
The running game just kept going and pounding and pounding. I mean, and then that 4th and 1. Again, the onions on that man. Mad respect to the guys in Detroit.
This is what's going to happen at the 49ers game. This right here. this right here. This right here.
A lot of that.
The whole team. They're going to give out free ones at the game. Look, there you go.
Being a Giants fan has to be like physically unhealthy to the human body. Like I thank the Lord I don't have children because I refuse to spawn losers into the world.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Again, this is Macho Talk Sports episode 22, and I am here with my co-host, Omar Gomez. Omar, how you doing, bro?
I'm doing good. And yourself, man? How you doing today, bro?
I'm doing great, man. We got a lot of great things to talk about, man. A lot to talk about, a lot to get into. As we can see, we got some people coming in here. We got Jets Worldwide. What's good, brother? We got a couple people in here. Obviously, we know that there's a game going on today as well. We got the Eastern Conference Finals, Game 2 going on. So I'm going to be keeping a live score throughout the whole stream so we could kind of keep track of what's going on. We're going to talk about Game 1 as well. But then at the end of the stream, we'll go into what's going on currently in Game 2, try to read some of those stats. Obviously, we can't have it on right now, so we'll kind of dive into it. But thank you all for coming by. And again, if you're new here, we weekly, every Thursday, we do a show for you guys at 8 p.m. So please make sure to subscribe and hit that like button if you're in here as well for more content. But the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go into the Eastern Conference Finals. I want to go into this Eastern Conference Finals here. Before we get into the Eastern Conference Finals, what we're going to do is we're actually going to talk about round 2. Round 2, let's get into your team right here. We're going to talk about the Spurs real quick. I want to talk about the Spurs versus the Wolves. Let me bring this up. Give me 1 second. Boom, boom, boom. We also have Flores coming down as well. We're waiting on him. But as we talk about that, I mean, the Spurs beat the Wolves. We had the Western Conference Finals actually yesterday, Game 2, which we'll also get into. But if you can talk to me about these Spurs versus the Wolves, exactly what did you see at that series? And if you could get into that.
First of all, what I saw with the let's start with the Timberwolves. There were moments that I felt like they were targeting all of our star players. And it's not me making excuses. It's the fact that the last game, how De'Aaron Fox, how magically the guy goes into his ankle, bro. Like, just magically. Magically. Like, you see it, like... And I'm not talking as a fan. I'm talking about as a lover of basketball. You never, ever want to hurt anybody. That is not the point of playing basketball, to hurt the other team. I'm going to beat you fair and square without hurting you. But I feel like that series, like, they were trying so hard to injure Fox. Even there was moments that Gobert tried to grab Wemby and pull him and push him. Like I told you, that was not bully ball. That's just, I'm going to hurt you ball.
Yep, 100%.
A lot of people were freaking out. I know we talked about it on the show last week that when the Spurs there was moments that they looked like they were going to lose. I never thought they were going to lose to the Wolves. I thought that they were going to get it together, and they did. Like I said, the X factor was Dylan Harper in that series, as I told you he would be. Dylan Harper is 12 points. I'll take 12 points, 10 points, 15 points off the bench. And he was the X factor to that series. It was a very exciting series. But the Wolves fell short. The Wolves fell short, and everybody except for Wolves fans had hoped that they were going to beat the Spurs. But I don't. And mind you, the Spurs weren't 100%. Like I said, the Aaron Fox was still playing, not 100%, but they still made it happen. But looking at the Wolves, they're exciting. They're an exciting team to watch, and has the possibility, has a chance to be the face of the league. Whether people want to accept it or not, he's a very talented kid. He has that Mamba mentality, I would say. He has the Mamba mentality, that killer mentality.
Hell yeah.
And he works hard for it, and I think he's up there with the people that have that Mamba mentality, which is not everybody nowadays, especially a young kid like him, has matured so fast. And so, like, few years in the league with these LeBron James and all these other players in the league, and you see how he balls out, bro. He's overall defense, rebound, assist, dunk, layup, everything. The kid does everything, bro. He's an amazing kid. And if he stays in Minnesota, Minnesota needs to take advantage of his prime and build around him.
That's a fact. That's a fact. And then someone else I do want to ask about this before we move on to the next one is my boy Daniel Flores over here. We just got into the second round with the Spurs knocking over the Timberwolves. Is there anything that you wanted to mention about this series?
Honestly, I know they out-physicaled well, the Timberwolves try to out-physical the Spurs, but at the end of the day, that team is just too deep, too loaded, and then Wemby just being great. Plus, just the injuries Minnesota had, and their offense just stalled at times. But yeah, I mean, I'm happy that the Spurs won because we got some great basketball going on at the moment now.
So now with that, before we get into the current actual series, there was also on the east side, we had the Pistons and the Cavs. I do want you to get into that for me right here with these Cavs stalling the Pistons. What did you see in the series?
So honestly, I mean, I kind of had a feeling that the Pistons, not that they were a fake number one seed. I mean, they were the number one seed. That's what the record said. So they were who they were. The only thing is in the playoffs, a lot of it comes down to half court offense, which the Pistons really solely rely on Cade Cunningham. Jalen Duren really just did not provide that interior offensive threat that he was during the regular season when teams don't really have a lot of time to prepare for the next game because it's such a quick turnaround. In a playoff series, it's just everything's just so condensed. You're focused on that team. There's 83 games of video that you can go back to and study and prepare for a series like this. The Magic almost had them. I mean, they figured that out. Wendell Carter, I mean, you can say he outplayed Duren that entire series. And there was a game that Wendell Carter had 2 points and 0 rebounds and fouled out. And he still somehow outplayed Jalen Duren. Like, that's how bad it was. And it kind of just continued over. And I kind of had a feeling that Cleveland was going to pull this out. I did mention it. I did say just give myself my flowers there. But yeah, I mean, it just came down to really the Cleveland just had more firepower than the Pistons. The Pistons just kind of just ran out of gas. Cade had a horrible game. I mean, almost. You look down the Pistons. I mean, Asar Thompson, the dude. Yes, he's a talent, but he needs to at some point shoot the ball. I mean, they're playing 4-on-5 on offense and then 5-on-5 on defense, but I mean that's all he's providing. It's just one side of the floor. You need to be a dual threat. He was a -14. Tobias Harris finally came down to earth. I don't know what the hell he did against the Magic. He was balling out Game 7, but in this one, I mean, he had 5 points, 0 of 6, 0 of 2. This dude only scored at the free throw line. He was a -23. Jalen Duren, again, under 10 points, under 10 rebounds, -18. Dennis Jenkins, -15. And Cade Cunningham, 13 points, didn't make any threes, and -32. It was an abysmal game for the Pistons.
Disgusting. Omar?
This is why I put the bucket hat on. Somebody rained on them, brother. Somebody rained, like, cover the rain, bro. Like, bro, are you serious? Like, first of all, Flores, it's nice to have you, man. It's nice to have you here.
Thank you. It's been a hell of a day, I can tell you that much.
But bro, it's like, did you expect that at the beginning of the season, watching this team come together, how they did, and how they were the best team in the East? Did you expect them to go out like that? That their big men, you will agree with me, the big men did not perform. They got outperformed by, I would say, an inferior big man squad. Because in
Yeah.
my opinion, the Pistons big
Yep.
man are an upgrade
During.
compared to the Cavs.
During and Stort. I would say yeah,
Yes,
but
in a sense, in a sense.
I mean Allen and Mobley, they can provide sparks elsewhere. It's not just straight up pick and roll. During yeah, he can put the ball on the floor every once in a while, but I mean once you load up on him, it's kind of game over.
The issue is that he heightened his expectation throughout the season.
And that
He
is that
was
is true.
he was having an amazing season. So when you see him in the playoffs, you're expecting to see the same thing, and it was the complete opposite.
I mean, this
Complete
dude's
opposite.
only 20. So it's kind of
24
unfair, right? He can add a lot to his game. This dude can be very
for
scary
sure.
because he is a physical specimen. I mean, the dude is huge,
I
and
like how you
yeah,
said that. You sounded so professional. Specimen.
but I mean, this dude is young as
Yeah,
heck, dude.
for sure.
He can add so much to his game, and like you said, he raises expectations because yeah, he did play like an all-star. He did play like the second best player on the best team in the East. So you did expect a lot more. It's just in the playoffs, it's such a different game, man. It really is.
100%, 100%. So we're going to be jumping around a little bit. I did have the Jason Kidd news actually to start off the show, but what I did was I kind of moved it around to kind of give you some time. So let's get into Jason Kidd real quick before we get into the Western and Eastern Conference Finals. As we can see, the game has started with the Cavs up 13
Yep.
to 9. It's kind of been going back and forth a little bit. Nobody taking any big leads so far. So what we'll do is we'll get into Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd obviously was let go from his position as the Dallas Mavericks head coach. Still had about 40 million left on that contract, but they got new ownership in there, and they are committed to cleaning house, and he is obviously the head of that household. So they
Yep.
had to get rid of him to kind of get a new start over. So I wanted to ask you guys, what do you see is the next step for Jason Kidd? Like, is there a team that he goes to right away and becomes head coach? Do you see him becoming an assistant or maybe taking a step away? And I'll start with you, Omar.
Well, I wrote a little something about him.
Oh, please.
Okay, so hold on.
Gotta hydrate. Gotta hydrate.
So, all jokes aside, I don't think Jason Kidd forgot how to be a head coach. I just think that he got thrown a curveball once the Luka situation started. Because I remember that I said this last year. You have a team, you have management, you have the coach, and you have the players. If all three of us are not in sync with each other and we have difference of opinions and we don't agree with the plan, we don't commit to the system, we don't commit to the plan, that's what happens. The Mavericks are the example of not committing to the system and not committing to a plan. So Jason Kidd is not at fault here. The owner, management, didn't have a plan. The plan was to rebuild, but I don't feel like the plan, how they went about it, was right. Okay? You didn't, like, what made you trade Luka? Like, there was no reason to trade Luka. There was no reason for that. You could have built around him. There was no reason. And then at that, you trade him to the West. You keep him inside the Western Conference. Jason Kidd should have never been fired because I think he's a great coach. Where does he go next? I think he should just take a year off. Assess the situation, enjoy his life, enjoy that contract because he's still going to get paid. Come back in a year and weigh your options. Weigh your options because I think any team, any young team up and coming, oh my God, if he goes to, let's say, a Hawks team or a Pelicans team, I think he can do a great job in those teams and build those young players up to be a contender in the league.
So the Pelicans did actually just hire a coach with Mr. Mosley from the Magic over here, which I'll jump over to Daniel. Daniel, what do you think about Jason Kidd and what he does next?
So honestly, I think if he were to get a head coaching job, I think there's only one job that I think would persuade him to say like, hey, I'm not taking a year off. I'm just gonna be a head coach, and I honestly think it's probably the Orlando Magic head coaching job. I know he is the point guard guru. We need a point guard guru. But we also need a head coach that's kind of been there, done that. He hasn't done that all the way. I mean, his regular season record is 388 wins with 395 losses. That's hovering around 500. His playoff record, though, it is 22-18. With the Nets, Bucks, and obviously the Mavericks. And he took them. Well, he took the Mavericks to the Western Conference Finals and then the NBA Finals, as we know. Of course, a lot of that had to do with having Luka Doncic on your team, but that just having a superstar on your team doesn't mean you're guaranteed to go to the finals or really go in a deep run. So yes, he did have to coach his butt off. So I think Jason Kidd is not a coach where you can throw into a very, very young team. I think he's actually the one that is kind of like that mid-tier head coach where you can put him in with established players and then he'll make the most out of it, especially a team that has a solid point guard. And I think he can elevate that. Really another team that a lot of people probably don't mention, but they're probably going to have a head coaching vacancy depending on what that owner does, because right now he's cleaning house, is the Portland Trailblazers. I know Thiago Splitter did his thing, and holy hell, like he actually did his thing. He did great to take that team after Chauncey Billups and all that. Jason Kidd is that type of coach to where he can get Scoot Henderson, Damian Lillard is there. We don't know what's going to happen with Drew Holiday, but there's an established guard rotation. There's an established star in Denny Advia, but he can take that team maybe to the next level and start competing for at least the playoffs year in and year out. So I think would I want him on the Magic? I think would be the question I get asked a lot. I don't know. I don't know if he's the guy. If the Magic do decide to give him a contract, I mean, I'll ride with it. Again, he's been there, done that. Not completed it, but he's been there with a superstar. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it was time to clean house completely from that whole Luka Doncic, because I keep hearing rumors that Luka might come back in 2028, but we'll see. We'll see.
So I'm kind of in the middle here because the team that I wrote down was also the Magic. But like Omar, I also think that he should take a year off. Because kind of what you were saying, Flores, where he is that middling coach, I don't think that there's a team that he can go to that is going to elevate them to the point where they become either a play-in team all the way to a contention team, or a contention team all the way to a finals team. I don't know if he's able to kind of make that next step up. And you kind of touched on some of his years with the Mavs where he went to the Western Conference Finals. With that team, he had Luka and Jalen Brunson. When he made it to the finals, he had Luka and Kyrie. The year right in between when they lost
Guards.
Brunson and traded for Kyrie, they went 38-44 though. The year that they traded Luka was 39-43, and then this year 26-56. You gave his all-time record, which is middling at 500, but is below. And then if you throw in some of that context with the players that he had on those teams, the Nets, the Bucks, and the Mavs. On the Nets, he had KG, Paul Pierce, Deron Williams, Joe Johnson, Andre Karolinko, Brooke Lopez. On the Bucks, he had Giannis, Chris Middleton, Jabari Parker when they just drafted him. And then obviously on the Mavs, he had Luka, Brunson, Kyrie, Klay Thompson, AD, Cooper Flag. I haven't really seen a coach do less with more in his career, honestly. I love him as a player, and I agree where he is also probably that point guard whisperer. He was one of the greatest point guards I've ever watched play the game. But when it comes to translating that into head coaching and making a franchise a winner, turning it around or giving it that next step up, he hasn't really been that guy. And when he was that guy, it was because of someone like a Luka Doncic, like one of those top 5 players in the NBA. And when you need someone like that in order to succeed, it makes it hard for me to evaluate you as a head coach, because I've seen everything that you've done without that player, and it wasn't very well. So if I'm the Magic, I would probably stay away from him. I think that finals appearance and that Western Conference finals appearance is going to be a little tough for them to turn down. But I like some of the options out there, and then there might be more options available throughout the offseason. People are going to start cleaning house, like you said. So if I was them, I would honestly stay away. I would honestly stay away. So
Yeah,
let's get
I
let's
agree.
let's get into this Eastern Conference Finals real quick. We're gonna start with Game One here. With Game One, we had the Cavs versus the Knicks. With the Knicks with this heroic comeback. What was it? 22 points, I believe.
Yep, 22 point comeback.
22-point comeback here.
In what felt like in a 7 minute span. That's what it felt like.
Insane, absolutely insane, and it was mostly due to this matchup that you see here on this graphic with James Harden absolutely getting cooked. The Eastern Conference Finals. I'm gonna start with you, Daniel. While Omar gathers his thoughts, what was something that you saw in Game One that really like stood out to you?
So I went on this pod and I said that Cleveland matches up well with the Knicks. And I still stand by that. I think they still do. I think that those first 3 quarters prove not only to us, but to themselves that they can hang with the juggernaut that is the Knicks here in the playoffs because they've been blowing people out left and right. It took literally a heroic, ungodly like game from Brunson and I'm saying game, not really, more like just a quarter because the first 3 he was held under control. I mean he didn't look all the way there, and then of course in fourth quarter Brunson just decided to show up along with the rest of the squad, and of course you're at home so you're riding that whole wave. So that comeback was awesome. But what I see here in this picture is literally the matchup that we have to look at. They're going to hunt. So Brunson, I see Brunson shooting the ball on this graphic, and I see Barbecue Chicken putting his hand up right there. It's just James Harden just has to be better, and it's the story of his career, and I don't think it's gonna be. Well, let's put it this way: it's gonna be more magnified now because they're playing the Knicks, and because it's the Eastern Conference Finals. With that, the market with all eyes, literally the only game coming out of the East and everything. Um, that matchup, James Harden just has to be better. Now, the Knicks, of course, I mean, they've already proved they've won 8 straight games, 9 straight games, really now. They're blowing people out. But I think this series might go 7. Honestly.
It might. It definitely might. I mean, it was looking like a really good series up until that last couple of minutes in that fourth quarter. Brunson in the fourth quarter is a different animal than Brunson in the first 3 quarters. Omar, you had some time to gather your thoughts there. Go ahead.
I apologize that I had to turn the camera off, but you're going to love this segment. While I talk about James Harden, I will have barbecue in front of me. Okay? This is my microphone. James Harden, you got barbecued, my friend. I don't care about the matchups. You got roasted with sauce. What were you doing? It looked like there was moments that this dude allowed Brunson to just walk to the rim and score. There was moments that he moved. James Harden will never win a championship in my eyes because of that lackadaisical defense that he has. The Knicks will forever look for that matchup. Dude, he has no type of defensive. He can't stop Brunson. He can't stop him. He can't stop him even if he had a barbecue bag full of chicken. My man, you are toast. I'm done. Get him out. Get him out. Get him out the screen.
Yeah, and you know it's bad when Mike Brown is coming to the press conference and just admitting that, yeah, we're attacking him.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys see it. There's no reason for me to even hide it. Yeah, we're attacking him. That just shows we're not afraid of you in any type of way. And I think it's getting to the point where when are we or the NBA going to start looking into Harden and investigate him? Because it seems very convenient when he does terrible in these playoffs. It's almost like he wants to do bad. It's for his turnover rate to jump so high from the regular season to the playoffs. It's mind-boggling. It may be him in his own head. It may be him out of shape, him a little older. It could be a lot of different factors, but one factor that we cannot deny is that he has been playing absolutely terrible. And as long as he keeps playing like this, I think this is going to be a pretty easy series. If he steps it up, I can definitely see this going 7. If he's playing the way he is, and Donovan Mitchell is going to have to will this team every night, Jared Allen and Evan Mobley have been able to show that, like you said, have been able to provide sparks. There's able where they could go double machines, 20 and 10 with a couple of blocks, but they're not able to do that consistently. If there's no consistent help, which is what they got James Harden for, then the Cavaliers are done for. Absolutely done for. So we're going to move on to this Western Conference Finals, which to me has been easily the best matchup so far. Absolutely amazing matchup here. We had the double overtime game in game 1 where you got tired just watching it. You seen Wemby out there, the 7-6 or 7-5, something insane, but playing like 50 minutes, like just going in. You see, thankfully for the Thunder, they had a pretty good rest period before this game, so they were a little more. But the SGA had a terrible game, shooting 30% from the field, something that has not been something that is common for him. Whether he puts up buckets or not, his field goal percentage, his efficiency is usually very high. So I'm going to kick it off with Omar. He has this Western Conference Finals with Game 1 and Game 2 with this series in totality. What is something that you've noticed, something that you want to point out with the series?
That the refs is the true 6-man. The refs are the true 6-man. Listen. And let me be very honest with you, brothers. I'm going to be honest with you. A loss is a loss, and I'm willing to take it as a supporter of my team. I don't make excuses for losses. But we all were watching the same game last night. How do you not call this? Bro, there was... NBC had highlights of Hartenstein grabbing Wemby's arm, pulling his arm, pulling the jersey. He, at one point, grabbed Castle's dreads. You know you could kill somebody if you do that? I am not overreacting. Are the refs... There was one point that he grabbed Castle's hair, and the ref was standing right there. Didn't call it. Yo, Hartenstein should have fouled out by halftime, bro. He had 8 fouls. 8! Oh, my God. I'm so upset, bro. I'm so upset. Because things like that is what ruins the game nowadays. You got to call it. And then... the most ridiculous call that I've seen in all these plays. I'm getting a headache, and I think I'm getting an aneurysm soon. The over and back calling Castle. Bro, his foot didn't step over the line, bro. The over and back was a ridiculous call, but you call that. But you can't call Hartenstein about the DDT Castle.
Nope. Of course not.
It's been good games, but I feel like the refs are just calling it one way. They're calling it Thunder's way. And another thing is, we got to see what's going on with Dylan Harper. That's going to be the key to the Spurs winning this series. They can't do it without Dylan Harper because the way Castle is playing, which I think he's going to come back from all of that, he's going to get it together. But 20 turnovers in 2 games is not it. That's not going to get you to the finals. That will not ever get you anywhere. He has to score more. He has to just slow it down. And he can't be the ball handler anymore because obviously he can't handle that role. He can't be a floor general. He's not a floor general yet. But it's been exciting. Like you said, Macho, in the beginning, it's been very exciting to watch these games. This is, like I call it, pure cinema.
Yeah, and it's insane that Game 1 and Game 2 was almost an exact replica with 122-115 to 122-113, but just the reverse and stuff. Daniel, when we see this Western Conference Finals here, what's something that stands out to you in this series?
Well, I know the Pentagon released some UFO files recently, and I mean, you probably can see Wemby's family history through the UFO files there because, man, I've never seen a 7'5" guard. I mean, that's what technically Wemby is, but the way he recovers on defense is what makes him like amazing. He's long, he's flexible. But this guy with down 3, pulling up from Curry range, from 30 feet, with the utmost confidence. And if you look at the shot, it was a 3-on-1 break. Like, that is a terrible shot, bro. Like, go to the rim. Like, and this guy just all the most confident. And when he made that, and I'm like, yeah, all right, yeah, the rest of the league is cooked. We're definitely cooked because it's again, this is like kind of like their first exposure to the playoffs. And I understand that's like Stefan Castle just has been a turnover machine, but that technically is not his role to be the primary ball handler. They are gonna miss Harper if he misses time. They definitely miss Fox. That's what both of them are there for. It's just to kind of keep that team organized and very turnover prone. When you're trying to feed Wemby, you just want to throw it up. So, and then the Thunder are very handsy, and yes, they're allowed to be very handsy, and yes, the refs always call it. But let's just these last 2-3 years has been like that, so we know what to expect when we watch the Thunder. That's why a lot of us didn't watch any of the Thunder games during the regular season. This is really the only time we're watching them because we're kind of forced to. But yeah, man, it's just this guy. This guy is and Wemby is just
Insane.
something else. Something else. And I do like that they're sending two people to Shea all the time because J Dub is hurt. You know,
Yep.
I mean, he got hurt again. The hamstring, soft tissue injuries are nothing to play with. Those linger for an eternity. It seems like. And there's like really not another player on that Thunder squad that can be off the dribble. Now they have a bunch of guys that can definitely shoot and just off of pure energy, but that's kind of where Shea's greatness is exemplified, is just how much attention you have to pay attention to him, because the other guys can get loose, like your Caruso's, like your Lou Dort's, your just name them, just a random dude off the bench. It doesn't matter. OKC has another guy that can just spot up and shoot if everybody's rolling two to Shea. It's a fun series. It's gonna be close. I hope it goes seven somehow. I wish they both won and just call it that the finals. I know Knicks and Cavs fans don't want to hear that, but let's just make it two series. Like
Ryan.
let's just run two
Oh
series
boy.
back to back.
Oh, Ryan's not gonna like that. Oh boy. Oh boy. You just made a. You
It's
just
all right. They're
made
watching the game. They're not paying attention. No.
the Chris Jericho. You just made the list, brother.
So I will say, for me personally, I feel like game one wasn't called as bad. I feel like it was a little even for game one. Game two, it was back to regularly scheduled program with OKC getting the whistles that they normally get. Obviously, they saw what happened in game one where they don't get those whistles, so they had to go ahead and fix that up. But game one, as you could see, when SGA doesn't have it going, the OKC Thunder is going to have a hard problem and hard time trying to score, especially on a tough defense like the Spurs. Just in general, scoring on them is hard. And when your best scorer is having a bad night, it makes it even harder when your second best scorer is just coming off of an injury. That game one was his game back, his return game from his injury into the playoffs. And he did pretty well. 44% shot 26, shot 44% for 26 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 assists. But then again, he did get re-injured, so he wasn't there. And then you had people like Alex Caruso, who did step up in game one with 31 points. One thing I do also want to point out, though, is throughout the season, you see the happy, jolly OKC Thunder teams. You wasn't seeing that in game one.
Yeah,
They
nope.
are sore winners, man. Sore winners and sore losers. It is the worst of worst. And it's funny because a lot of people became OKC fans because of stuff like that, because of, you see how they're all togetherness, the togetherness, the team putting team first over everybody. Shea obviously had the best game, but he's going to bring all his teammates around him to join him and hold each other's hands and kumbaya, and it looks great. But when you're down and you're getting your ass kicked, you got people like Alex Caruso pushing the camera away. I don't like that. So next time that they're down again,
Who does he think
I
he is? That goon. He looks like that the little brown things in Mario. Who do you think you are?
a
Bro?
little Goomba.
Yeah, he looked like Goomba, a white Goomba. I can't
white
say that. I'm
Goomba.
not gonna talk about it. You shut up.
No, I mean it's really it's bad to watch, man. It's bad to watch. If you're gonna talk it like you walk it when you're up, you gotta expect the same thing when you're down. It's not like they're talking trash to you. It's a camera in your face. This is the business. This is what it's like whether you're winning or losing. So for you to be pushing the camera away, for you to be complaining and stuff like that when you're down, that is some sore loser stuff. They did bounce back and return in game two. I think at this point the Spurs were gassed from that game one. It didn't look like Wemby had it going the way he did in game one. And what worries me is the fact that Wemby had to have such a monster game in game one, and then SGA had to have such a bad game in game one for it to even be that close in the win, I'm hoping that that was more of a circumstance thing as opposed to where if Wemby doesn't have it going and SGA is regular SGA, is this going to be a series? Now, in the regular season, the Spurs played the Thunder absolutely the best out of anyone. But obviously, regular season and playoffs is different. So,
Different
are we going to see that inexperience plus all the injuries piling up on the Spurs side? Is that going to also affect them throughout the rest of the series? So, that's definitely something to watch. And then I think that ends the basketball portion. Let me double check. That will end the basketball portion so far for this. Obviously, as we can see, Eastern Conference Game 2 down there. The Cavs are up 27-24. Do you guys have a window open to kind of see what's going on in the game, or you just checking down?
I do. Right now it hasn't refreshed, but let me see here. Right now, Donovan Mitchell and James Harden are combined 6 points, and they're up 3. For the Knicks, it looks like Cat and Mikal Bridges are the ones kind of feeling themselves. Brunson only has 2 points, but of course that means absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing until the fourth quarter. To the fourth quarter. Yeah, I'm catching up here with Mobley with the game high 10 so far, shooting 66%. Take 6 attempts so far. Him and Jared Allen, the 11 attempts, field goal attempts so far.
Yep.
Leading the team. So
Yep.
we're going to see what's going on as they continue to, I assume, just attack the paint, stay away from the perimeter, make Cat work on the inside. And then what we're going to do is we're going to move on to the MLB side here. So let's move on to here.
That's what I'm talking about. Let's go.
Let's get into some MLB action. We're going to start with the Mets and the Yankees here. The Mets own the MTA, man. Unfortunately, the Mets did beat the Yankees 2 out of 3 games to take the first part of the Subway Series. For this one, I'm going to start with you, Flores. I want to know, is this the type of win that they needed in order to kind of carry this out throughout the regular season? The rest of the season, it's a long season. They've been playing terribly so far. Is this what they needed in order to get all the way past to get them through the rest of the season?
Honestly, I would have said yes if the Mets didn't turn around, I believe, the next game and gave up like 10 runs or whatever the heck. It's just that they're so inconsistent. And I mean, doesn't matter what the record is. It's kind of like those whole Steelers and Ravens and Ravens and Browns and Steelers and Browns. You can just throw out record out the window. You get so juiced up for these rivalry games that anything can happen. So like, I know the bragging rights is not on the Yankee side right now, but bro, who cares? It's only for a short time period. By the end of it all, I mean, the Mets are so inconsistent. It may spark something to where, they may make a run, but I mean, the Braves are cooking, so they might not even sniff the playoffs, honestly.
Yeah, that's a fact, and that's a good foreshadow into what we got going on after this topic. But Omar, as a Yankee fan, I mean, that sucked to watch. But do you think that this is what the fans needed in order to fuel them for the regular season, for the rest of the season, or is this kind of just a blimp in the past? Like,
Well,
what's going on?
I'm gonna tell you something right now.
Please do.
The Mets needed that badly. I don't care what anybody says. They needed that badly, not only because of how they've been doing this year, because that's a cross-run rival that's been doing better than you, and that's who you're competing with. You don't want to be them. You want to beat them all the time and be better than them. So that was a good win for them. But beating the Yankees doesn't fix their season. Okay, this is not like you won a playoff series. It's not like you made the wild card. You know what I mean? This means something, but it doesn't mean it's not the end all be all. You're still inconsistent. You still have little holes to plug in your team. You need to consistently win. Because you have the highest payroll in baseball, and you missed the playoffs last year. If you missed the playoffs this year, You made a couple of like iffy moves this offseason, nothing crazy. What's going to be the answer to your failure this year if you don't make the playoffs? You have the highest payroll. You should be made. You should be for sure in the playoffs, bro. I feel like I'm a 50-50 about them winning. Let's see how the rest of the season goes, but they're gonna need more than that to turn it around, bro. They're gonna need a real like strong, consistent effort. Like they're really gonna have to turn it up a notch.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And as somebody that knows some Mets fans, a lot of them in my family actually, it gives them a lot of bragging rights, right? We talk about bragging rights, especially when you're two teams that live in the same state. We're all intertwined with each other. New York is already a melting pot. So you want those bragging rights, and it feels good to be like, yeah, we beat you guys 2 out of 3. We won the Subway Series. That's great. But let's dig into the Mets. They're 6-4 in their last 10, which 2 of those wins came from us, which is great. But they also don't have enough firepower. They're ninth in the least amount of runs scored. They're minus 15 in run differential. They crumble against good opponents. They're 9-21 against opponents that are 500 or more. Obviously, 2 of those wins came against us. So technically, they're 7-20 against teams that are not the Yankees, that are 500 and over. And then they can't even defend their home field where they're 11-13. You're under 500 in your own stadium. So I understand it feels good to say that you guys won and you guys earned it. You did win it, but you're not back. You're not back. So enjoy it while you do, while you can, but it's not going to last very long. And what else is not going to last very long, or possibly may continue to last the whole series? I want to talk about these Braves, man. The Braves in the same division as the Mets have been absolutely going crazy. Braveheart. The Braves currently own the best record in the MLB. And I'm going to start with you, Omar, this time. I want to know, will it last? Are they the real deal?
So far, they're the real deal. When we can determine if it's gonna last after the All-Star break, because that's when teams are cold or hot. So I was looking over here on their record. They're 34-16. They're beating teams up. They're not just beating teams. They're beating them up. I think their differential in runs is like plus minus 98.
Yep, I got you. Yep.
Bro, these are MLB The Show like numbers, bro. And they're playing in the NL East. The NL East was supposed to be one of the best divisions in baseball. The Phillies were not supposed to be losing like this. The Mets were not supposed to be losing like this. I think it's gonna last because they have the confidence. And correct me if I'm wrong. They beat a couple of contenders as well. It's not like they just beat these like Joe Schmo teams. They beat a couple of contenders up.
100%.
So I think they're the real deal. They're scary. They're scary, and if they keep this up, they're on pace to win one, Macho. 100 something games, right?
I don't have their pace, but they're definitely on pace for 100. I don't know the exact number, but yeah.
They look like the Dodgers. They look like the Dodgers, but the Dodgers are dealing with a lot of injuries on their pitching rotation, whatever. But they look like the NL Dodgers this year because that's what the Dodgers were doing last year.
Yeah. Daniel, are the Braves the real deal?
So my comparison is actually the other way around. So they remind me a little bit more of what the Blue Jays were doing last year, and that's just discipline at the plate. I mean, they're number 1 in hits, they're number 1 in average, and not only that, their bullpen is complimentary baseball. Right now, the thing with baseball is like you said, you have to prove it later on in the year because sometimes a lot of teams actually they peak, and then because it's such a long season. So there's a chance that yes, this may be short lived, but as far as like plate discipline, hitting, and they just got Acuna back. And I mean they were doing this without arguably their best or second best player really. So they're a scary bunch, and is their pitching rotation. I mean they lead the league in ERA combined. So it's a coming from all fronts, man. They'll shut you out and then they'll out hit you with plate discipline. It really reminds me of what the Blue Jays were doing last year.
It's great baseball, man. It's just great baseball to watch. And I agree with you guys. I think they are the real deal. And I'll kind of highlight some of these stats that I got written down. So I also had the differentials that you said, Omar, with 98. To dig a little deeper is that they're also tied with the Dodgers. So both of them have 98 plus differentials. And then second place after that is the Brewers at 75. So they got a 23 run lead between them and the Dodgers and everyone else, which is absolutely insane. At home, 16-8. They got the third best record behind the Rays and the Yankees as far as just at home. Their division is weak. We spoke about how they were supposed to be talked up as one of these good divisions. It doesn't look that way. So if they're able to just feast on that division as well throughout the season, that's going to bode well for them. They have a great number one right now in Matt Alston. You said Acuna hasn't even been playing. Matt Alston has been making sure that take your rest. I got you. 14 home runs, 42 RBIs, 583 slug percentage. His batting average is pretty low at 281. He does need to get that up, but he's doing everything else to where that average, they can work around it. Because what also helps is everyone's contributing. They have 4 other players that have 8 or more home runs on their team right now, and that's without Acuna. They also have a two-headed monster at pitching rotation with Chris Sales and Bryce Elder. Both of them pitched 10 games. Chris Sales is 7-3, 72 strikeouts, ERA of 189, a batting average against of 181. Chris Elder, 10 games as well. He's 4-2 with 56 strikeouts, ERA of 2.01, and a batting average against of 187. They're dominating on all fronts, hitting, pitching, and just being able to take care of not only good opponents, but also feasting on the easy wins that they should be feasting on. So I do think that the Braves are definitely the real deal as well.
Isn't it crazy how long Chris Sale has been like dominant? I mean, he did have like a little injury spurt in Boston, but he was so freaking good. Like he's 37 years old, man. And pitchers, the older they get, it seems like yes, they lose velocity, but man, it's just if you're an off-speed guy, which Chris Sale is, you can dominate for a very, very long time. Yeah, shout out to the Lakeland kid from Florida. So
always got to give those Florida boys shout outs.
Always.
And then we focused on that division, but I want to broaden this up to all divisions in the MLB. If let's say you guys were a team, right? You're gaining this franchise here. You get to pick a division in which you want your team to play in. I want to know which division in the MLB right now is the hardest to win and why. Maybe you're staying away from this division because it's so hard. And I'll start with you, Omar.
The NL Central.
NL Central.
NL
And
Central.
why is that?
Take a look at the NL Central. So I wrote something down here. When every team in your division is competitive, you have to try to stay away from it because usually there's only like 2 out of 6 teams. There's only 2 teams that compete. Not in this division this year. This division is competitive. They're all trying to make the playoffs, and they know that they all can't make it, but they play with their hearts out there. They're playing their butts off this year. Usually the NL Central is, oh yeah, we're gonna go play them. Yeah, we're gonna beat them up. Not this year. They're trying. Like you could tell this year that they're trying. Like other years, you'd be like, man, they're just trying to tank on purpose to get a couple of draft picks, but they're not. So I would stay away from NL Central. I would usually other years I would say the AL East or the NL East. But this year, I think with either being as a baseball fan, we should focus on the NL Central and watch how fun those games are.
I love that. And then Daniel, which team for you is the hardest to win and why?
Well, I from the NL Central, I'm not sticking with the NL Central, but I do want to shout out the Pirates, man. They're finally playing good ball. Like about freaking time. It's been like since Roberto Clemente, right? Since they've been like actually good, but shout out to McCutcheon and you know his run with the Pirates as well. But you know they're finally they're finally actually doing something. So shout out to the Pirates for that. But honestly, I'm obviously I'm a Astros fan, but I'm gonna shout out the AL East. Simply because I mean you have the Yankees, you have the Blue Jays, you have the Red Sox, you have the Orioles, and then you have the Rays. Typically, the worst team here would be the Orioles on like the regular basis. But if I'm not mistaken, the Orioles were really freaking good last year. So a little bit of injuries, a little movement here. I mean, they're bottom of the AL East, but at any given moment, that can switch. The Red Sox, same thing. Any given moment, that can switch. The Blue Jays, they just literally almost won the World Series last year. Injuries and just a certain personnel change. I mean, that can also change at any given moment. Just Vlad going God mode again, along with the rest of the lineup. But because they know how to hit and they've kind of been there. But the Yankees are the Yankees, and so obviously they're always going to be 1, 2, probably never 3, but typically 1 or 2. And then the Rays just know how to win during the regular season. And that's kind of like the Rays' way. They know how to win regular season, but they kind of run out of gas towards the end. But that entire division is always very, very competitive. This year, the records don't say as such because it's so skewed, especially with the Rays. I mean, they already won 33 games, and they're just as hot. Nobody's talking about them, but they're just as hot as the Braves.
They were actually the first team, I think, to reach 30 wins.
They were. They were. And nobody's talking about them. And honestly, the AL East is something you have to watch for, and the Yankees have to kind of step it up a little bit if they just want to get a little home court advantage. I know playoffs is a completely different monster, but still, you want to position yourself a little bit better.
Yeah, you always want the advantage in any way that you can get it. And I'm glad that I asked this question, and I'm glad you went with the AL East, and then he went with the NL Central, because that was kind of I wanted to know what was the mindset like when you look at a division and what you deem it as a great division, what you deem it as hard. Is it those two teams at the top or one team at the top that's just super dominant, or is it more of a balance of the whole division where maybe there's not that one team that's absolutely going in? And for me, I also went with the NL Central, and I went for it because of that balance. Every team is literally above 500 right now. If you look at the Reds and the Pirates right now are tied for last at 26 and 24. So everyone is over 500. The leader right now with the Brewers is 29 and 18. So there's a lead of about 4.5 games from first all the way to last, which is absolutely insane. And then when you look at the run differentials, which is kind of weird to me, because as you see the Reds being, as the Pirates being last, you would think that they would have the worst run differential, but it's actually the Reds with minus 28, which shows that when they win, they're not winning by a lot, but when they lose, they're getting absolutely blown out. So is that something that's going to kind of balance itself out throughout the regular season where they start taking that downturn? But then the Cardinals, minus 1 differential. Pirates, which are in last place, plus 22 differential. Cubs 28, plus 28, and then the Brewers, who are first with plus 75, which is the third highest plus differential. So other than maybe the Reds, it looks like all these teams are being very competitive. The Reds look like they might have gotten away with a couple of lucky close wins, but the NL Central, there's that cluster. I would hate to have to fight with all of those teams throughout the regular season, to where maybe the AL East, I'll chalk up those Yankees as losses. You know what I'm saying? But then I can kind of feast on the Red Sox. I can feast on the Orioles and possibly the Blue Jays, who haven't been playing up to their standards, as you mentioned last year. Absolutely Cinderella type freaking run, almost taking the damn Dodgers down, taking them all the way to the absolute end, which is absolutely insane. So we're gonna move on from there, and then what I do want to get into is I wanna touch on this topic real quick that I don't think a lot of people are aware of right now. And this is a pitcher that is down in Milwaukee. Excuse me.
Up in
Milwaukee. That's a fact. So this is the top 14 hardest throwing pitchers of 2026 so far. He's at 99.6. He's almost averaging 100 miles per hour on his fastball. This is only fastballs. So this isn't counting for all their breaking pitches and stuff like that. So on fastballs, almost averaging 100 miles per hour. He's at 233 for the year, and everyone else on the list combined is at 149. Absolutely insane, and this kid is still young as well. I had 24 years old. He's 24 years old currently. Because they started tracking these pitches over 100 miles per hour, because back in the day this was something that was unheard of. Now it's becoming more and more common where your average pitcher is throwing about 100 miles per hour, but this kid just broke the record for 103.7, I believe. Insane. The athletes that we are producing nowadays on all the sports, because a lot of it usually gets highlighted in basketball or football, where you can kind of see that athletic ability being used a lot more, but the stuff that's going on in baseball as well, the difference and gap in between the decades and stuff like that. These kids are doing unheard of stuff. So as of right now, let me see if I could pull this up to see what the record is for the most pitches of 100 miles per hour in a season is 337. That is a Reds pitcher, Hunter Green. So Hunter Green set the record for 337 pitches of over 100 miles per hour. That was for the whole season. He's at 233. We're in May. So he's going to destroy that. Absolutely. It's insane. And I just needed to highlight this because I don't think this is something that's really being spoken about. I found this article on MLB by Mike Petrillo. I'm Puerto Rican. I'm trying to put a Spanish accent on it, but I don't think he's Spanish, so I'm sorry for ruining your name. But it is an absolutely great read on the MLB site, and he was just pointing out that how this kid is already making history at the age of 24, and I wanted to bring it up to be like, is this going to be the new norm, to where people like him are becoming more and more and more accessible? I mean, to his credit, if you see him at 99.6 and Chandler, who is number 2 on that list, who just reaches just over 98, so he has almost a whole mile per hour lead on the second place. So maybe him becoming the norm is a little crazy, but pitchers like him becoming the norm. Do you guys see that happening more and more as we just continue to evolve as humans, as freaking as athletes? Like, so Omar, like, when you're seeing this stuff and you're hearing all these things about Mizorowski, they call him Miz, about Miz over here, the Miz, shout out to WWE. Do you think this is going to become the norm now?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's going to become the norm because you got kids, excuse me, in college already throwing 94. Matter of fact, no, let's go to high school. You got kids in high school throwing 90, 95, and you see them in countries like Venezuela, Puerto Rico, DR, that they're young, they're 15, and they're throwing heat with movement and everything. So this is going to be a common thing. We live in a different era. Growing up, we saw one or two that pitched fast, but it wasn't the thing. Back when we were young, the thing was to be a smart pitcher. Location, movement, and just a Pedro Martinez, you have to be smart. Nowadays, it's about the movement and the speed. So we were going into a different era of baseball when it comes to pitchers. And I think that's going to be a very common thing.
What about you, Daniel?
So I'm actually, while you guys are talking here, I'm just Googling how can this kid throw 100 miles per hour on the regular basis, right? But I'm not Googling that per se. I'm Googling this kid is 6'7". So he's not just your yeah, 6'7". He's not your everyday kid just walking around, right? This kid's a monster. 6'7", and how Omar just said, there's people now at such a young age that are not just telling you to throw hard. They're teaching you mechanics to save your arm and to just hit those numbers consistently so you're not blowing out your arm. I mean, when was the last time we heard? Yeah, when was the last time we heard somebody get Tommy John surgery? It's not as common as it was. Hell, 6-7 years ago, where you heard every other pitcher, Tommy John, before they get injured because they want to. That elbow where all that torque's coming from, they want to strengthen it, or they blew it out, they're out for a while, they have to strengthen it. And then I was looking at Bubba Chandler, which is another pitcher from the Pirates. He's 6'3", so like a lot of it has to do with the height. These kids are monsters. And Bubba's only 23, bro. 23.
And that's the kid that's second in this list right now.
And that's second on this list. And then I'm going to throw out last year's, dominant Paul Skeens. Paul Skeens is not a small guy. He's 6'6". Yes, he's 23 years old, but all three of these guys are either 23 or 24, born in 2002. And it just shows, the progression, of course, the progression of the sport, the progression of us human learning how to do certain things growing up, not just blowing out a kid's arm, because that used to happen all the time in Little League. Oh, you can throw hard, and they'll just blow that kid's arm, and then they'll never make it to the big league because they've already thrown 1,000 pitches by the time they reach 15 years old. It's just a matter of technique, size, and just overall just God's gift really to throw a freaking baseball that fast consistently.
We live in such a privileged era when it comes to sports because we have someone like a Wimby on basketball, we have someone like an Otani in baseball, someone like a Miz in baseball, like people. We had someone like LeBron who that longevity. Like there's probably that's going to be able to replicate something like that. Like we've seen so many of these once in a lifetime kind of athletes in this. I'll speak for myself. 33 years of age. And to think that this may start becoming a little more normal because that's how evolution works. That's exactly how evolution works, where this is mind blowing stuff now, and then in 10 years there's 5 kids that are doing this now. In 10, 20, 30, 40 years there's 20 kids that are doing this now, and it just becomes normal. And then to your point where you said how it's also crazy how they're not even getting Tommy John anymore, to where they're able to throw harder but preserve themselves a lot more at the same exact time. It's like cyborg stuff. Like you would think, obviously, you throw harder, it's going to put more wear and tear on your body, but they found a way to kind of do both, where we're going to absolutely tune it up to the max and the velocity, but also tune up the cool down time, tune up the preservation period of being able to keep you going for long periods of time. And it's a thing to watch, man. It's a thing to watch. So I just did want to highlight there because this is something that's probably not going to get put out there into the mass media and stuff like that until maybe he breaks that record. Maybe they'll start talking about it in ESPN and stuff like that. But what a crazy time that we live in right now.
What's crazy is that you used to see these numbers like in closers.
Yeah.
This is a starting pitcher, man. Paul Skeens is a starting pitcher. Like it's crazy that they're able to maintain this throughout 6-7 innings. Now I know there's not baseball used to have a bunch of complete games back in the day, but like you said, it's about preservation and just the whole thing has just been, there's so much stats out there, there's so much video, there's so much we're learning of the human body and what we're capable of. I mean, shoot, of course we're perfecting it as we go. It's professional ball. That's why they're pros at the same time.
Yeah, we're in the information era, where it works all around. You know what I'm saying? Everyone's learning how to do. There was a lot of this stuff that was gatekept back in the days. A lot of this stuff was behind doors back in the days. So we obviously are going to get into some NFL stuff here, as you can see. But I did want to do a couple of quick hits. And then if there's anything that I'll mention on the quick hits that you guys want to talk about before we get to this, please let me know so we can do that. Matthew Stafford did extend with the Rams. He got a 1-year, $55 million deal. Could be worth up to $60 million for 1 year, which makes his current new contract a 2-year deal for $105 million. Jesus. Then we got the Lions re-signing Jack Campbell for 4 years, $81 million. 51 of that is going to be guaranteed. That makes him the second highest paid off-ball linebacker behind Fred Warner. And then we had the Giants re-signing Joe Shane, who went 22, 45, and 1 as a GM with the Giants so far. Is there anything of those 3 topics that you want to talk about before we move on to Rodgers? Either of you
Getting a quarterback of the future just saves your job immediately, regardless of what you've done. Mm-hmm. Did the Giants GM deserve that contract before Jackson Dart? No. That's all I'm gonna say.
Omar?
Yeah, when you can get yourself a franchise quarterback and your blueprint is on it, you're gonna get paid. Now, if they didn't get Dart, he'd get hit with the Timberland boot.
Mm-hmm. Which is funny, though, because I would think the head coach would also possibly get some credit for that, but they were able to get him out of here mid-season. So the fact that they not only didn't get rid of him, Joe Shane, mid-season, but also read up on him after. Mm-hmm. And then also when they signed their head coach, they let Joe Shane know, hey, by the way, he's going to do your job as well. So then I don't understand the thought process behind it. But hey, the Giants.
It may work. Who knows? Yet to see.
It may work. It's a free paycheck for him, that's for sure. But let's get into this Rodgers situation here. Originally, when I made this graphic, it just said reunited. Obviously, I did have to update that there on the bottom as well. So I wanted to talk about Rodgers. He did sign his contract now. He is officially going to be the starting quarterback again for this year for the Steelers. But he did also say that this is going to be his last year. This is his last year. After this year, he is done with. I want to know, Daniel Flores, sir, this is your team. What does this mean for the Steelers?
And just like that, I'm all in. We're winning the Super Bowl. No, I'm kidding.
Do it
No,
for
man,
Aaron.
we're doing it for Aaron, and so being a Steelers fan, of course, you appreciate from afar. So I had Big Ben for a while. So that's my quarterback, right? I grew up with Big Ben. I watched Big Ben. I saw him win. I saw him lose. I saw him retire. I cried. It was a whole full circle with Big Ben. Now Aaron Rodgers, low key, has always been one of my favorite players. Even though he beat us in the Super Bowl, and that one hurt so much because he beat out one of my favorite players, which was Troy Polamalu, on one of the fades, and I believe it was Jordy Nelson, along with a fumble by Mendenhall. And anyways, I don't want to talk about Super Bowl 43. But anyways, yeah. So it was a tough one. But everybody says it. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is probably one of the better ball throwers of all time. Now, the yards, the Super Bowls, of course, is not up to par because the Packers never truly ever gave him a good supporting cast. And I say that like kind of because he did have Devontae Adams, he did have Jordy Nelson, he did have, I know that, but Donald Driver, I know that, but it just never, they never took the next step needed in order to kind of just give him a full compliment, or they never truly addressed. I don't think they ever drafted a receiver to be their number one for like, I think Aaron's tenure. A lot of it was kind of like in-house, self-improved.
It was the year after that they finally did it with Matthew Golden.
With Golden, correct, correct. So Aaron Rodgers, to me, he did more with less, and I mean, this guy can absolutely just throw the ball. When he went to the Jets, if I'm not mistaken, he won the MVP the year before, didn't he?
2 years before that.
Or it was 2 years before?
2 years before that, because the year before that, when he was with Green Bay, it wasn't very good. Yeah.
No, that's the year that they started off slow and then they eventually made the playoffs, and then I think they
check that.
Yeah, so if I'm not mistaken, I mean, he was still a very capable quarterback. Of course, getting older, so he's not as mobile. That was part of his game as well. So when he went to the Jets, that, and then the Achilles, and kind of getting back from that. So
he won in 21. He came to us, I believe, 23. So it was 2 years removed.
2 years.
He was right there, though.
I mean, that's 2 years removed, and I mean, one of the greatest ball throwers. But him with the Steelers, I've said it a bunch of times, because of him, I think we won more than we lost. This is just going to be kind of like another season where the Steelers just going to go through the motions, win a really, really like good games against really good opponents. Are the Steelers able to maintain this? It's going to kind of be a little bit more of the same. But as a Steelers fan, I'm happy, but I'm not happy, just because I am dying for change. I am dying for give me a future to look forward to. We're kind of just stuck in mid. And I understand that, yeah, maybe there is no better option out there with the current construction of the roster that is old and ready to compete, right? Aaron Rodgers is still your better option. But at some point, we did have to see what Will Howard and Drew, like, I wanted to see. I know what Mason Rudolph is going to give me other than Christmas gifts, but I know what he's going to give me. But I wanted to see what the young guns have. And Mike McCarthy, he is the quarterback whisperer, so I was kind of curious to see where that was going to go. But having Aaron for one more year, It's just gonna be another one of like, hey, let's just see what we can do, and YOLO, the fandom is gonna hit, and like I said, YOLO, we're gonna win the Super Bowl. I don't care.
Omar?
I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. I wrote something down again. Dear Pittsburgh,
Dear Pittsburgh.
you're definitely paying for one last ride. If he wins, everybody calls it smart. If he looks old, people are gonna say the Steelers wasted another year instead of building for the future. And that is my address to the Steeler Nation.
I like it.
That's
I like
been
it.
the story of the last 6 years, I think.
That's a nice little haiku.
Yeah.
No, yeah. So, what I want to do is I want to point out just since this is his last year, I want to say that no matter how you feel about him as a person, obviously he doesn't rub everyone the right way. It's his play is undeniable. Absolutely undeniable. He has been easily one of the best quarterbacks in history. I'm not going to say he's number one, but you cannot tell me that he's not in the conversation of just top 10. Like and he did this while having to sit about 4 years behind Brett Favre. So imagine if he had that 4-year head start on top of that, where he would be on some of these lists. So he's fifth in passing yards with 66,000. He's fourth in passing touchdowns with 527. And he can also move up to third because Peyton Manning has 539. So if he throws for 13 more touchdowns, then he's going to be number 3. He's first in touchdown to interception ratio, which doesn't get spoken about a lot, where he just takes care of the ball so much. He's 4.28 with his ratio, so 4 touchdowns to 1 interception, which is insane when you think about all the throws that he's had in his career. And then he's fifth in wins with 166, but he can move up to fourth, who currently right now is Drew Brees at 172. So he needs 7 wins this year, which is typically around the Steelers' range. So he should be able to get that.
10.
So you're right. So he should be able to get that. And so possibly moving up to fourth in wins and then possibly moving up to third in passing touchdowns. Hell of a career, man. Absolutely hell of a career. As if I'm putting my mind in the Steelers' front office, my assumption is obviously he's the best option out of all the quarterbacks available. He was here last year, so he also has the understanding of how we work here. It kind of just makes sense. Let's bring him here for one more year. We also did just bring in another weapon. We got DK for him last year. We also brought in Michael Pittman for him this year. We got another very capable running back, Enrico Daddle, who had some absolutely crazy flashes last year. So you pair him up with a Jalen Warren. They shored up the line a little bit in that draft. We're going to see how that holds up throughout the rest of the career, because his biggest issue for last year was being able to take some of those hits. At this age, very understandable. So you have to be able to protect him. But if you're able to protect him, I mean, we've seen what he could do. We saw him in the Icy Hot Bowl last year. Him and Joe Flacco absolutely slinging it all around the field. Like, he still got it, man. And he's doing it with a flick of the wrist. The arm strength is still there. The mindset is obviously still there. So I understand for the Steelers what their mindset was with bringing him in. I think that it makes sense for the Steelers. If I'm the Steelers, I would have did that too. And thankfully, I don't know if this was planned ahead of time, but thankfully he said it now. This is my last year. This takes away all the questions. This takes away all the wondering throughout the offseason, which, as somebody that was a Jets fan, we had him on the team for 2 years. It's always, well, what is he going to do? Like, is he actually going to come back? Is he not going to come back? Is he committed? He's not committed. That takes all that out the way. You could just focus on ball for the rest of the offseason. Focus on ball for the rest of the season. They're not going to hammer him with questions. This is your last year? Is this not? Like, they could just focus on what happened in the game. So I think this is definitely good news for the Steelers. And then, after this year, we're 100% committed into the future. And as a Steelers fan, I would assume that must feel absolutely amazing.
Liberating. It feels liberating, honestly, because it's been so many years of just being mediocre. And I say that, right, I'm sorry, but talking to a Jets fan, right? And I know it probably sounds silly, but but I'm tired, bro. I'm tired of winning 10 games and then just being eliminated in the first playoff game in the wild card by just getting blown out. And I know part of it, yes, is Mike Tomlin and his ability, yes, to win, but also his ability to just not win. Like it, I don't know, man. It's just, and then McCarthy, I don't know. A lot has been said that yeah, he's Mike Tomlin white, you know. So I don't know. It's the off season. Everybody is still 0-0. Everybody is still in the playoff hunt. So we'll see how that goes. But if Aaron can break that touchdown record by week 2, that would be a great start to the season.
That'd be amazing. So he needs 13. So
Yeah,
week 2, sheesh.
Yeah, week two.
Week 2. Hey, it's been done. It's been done. Especially if you're going against the Jets. I think who was it? Trevor Lawrence had like 5 or 6 touchdowns against us in one of the last games of the season last year. But yeah, let me not cry. So that's gonna do it for the football section. I do want to check in with this Eastern Conference game right now. It's saying that it is at halftime. Let me refresh that real quick just to double check because it did get frozen a couple of times.
Still at
But
halftime.
it is.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're still at halftime here. Let me try to make this bigger so I can see it better on my field of view. Boom. Okay. Are you guys able to see the stats a little bit, or is it too small? Because I could make it bigger on the screen.
I have it on my separate screen over here, so I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good
But
too. I have it on another screen over here as well.
for our viewers, if you want to just zoom in there, you can.
Yeah. I'm gonna try to do that. But so while I do that, can you guys read off the stats? If Omar, you can read off the stats for New York, and then I'll have Flores read off the stats for Cleveland.
Okay, let me see. I can see. I can't see it. Can you zoom in a little bit if you can? Because on my screen it looks a little bit small.
Oh, I thought you said you had it on your screen. My bad. Hold on. Yeah, so then, whatchamacallit, Daniel, if you could read off the stats while I try to.
All right, so I'll start with Cleveland. So right now, Mitchell is the one that stands out to me. He's only taken 6 shots. He only has 7 points. Harden actually, he has 12 points at the half, so that's a little better.
Okay.
The difference here is Sam Merrill. Sam Merrill actually absolutely torched the Knicks from 3 the last game. He has yet to make a 3.
Ooh.
Mobley has 14 points. Jared Allen has 9 with 6 rebounds. As far as the turnovers, and I know you're probably going to ask about James Harden, he has no turnovers at the moment.
Whoa. So 12
yeah,
points and no turnovers.
Yes, and no turnovers. He only has 1 assist though, so is a lot of it maybe one-on-one. They're limiting that swing out pass or anything of that nature. But right now it looks tight all around. Just looking at the field goal discrepancy though, Cleveland's shooting 37% from the field. New York's shooting 52% from the field. As far as 3-pointers, they both have made 6 each. And then free throws, Cleveland has 10, made 9, and then the Knicks have shot 8, made 3. No way. Holy shit. Yeah, the Knicks need to hit some free throws. They've only made 3 free throws.
Damn.
To point something out as well, Flores.
Go ahead.
Check out Mikal Bridges' stat line. 21 minutes, 10 points, 5 of 6 from field goal range.
About time.
2 rebounds, 3
And
assists, 1 steal, no turnovers. He's a +1. He's really playing some good ball. The best ball as a Knick, in my personal opinion.
Well, right now, Josh Hart has 12 points. He's taking the most shots because Brunson also has only taken 6 shots, just like Mitchell, and only has 2 points.
Yeah,
1 for 5. I mean, 1 for 6 right
1
now
for
for
6,
Brunson.
yeah.
Absolutely insane. Josh Hart with 12 attempts, so he has more attempts than Brunson and Cat. Well, just right around Brunson and Cat put together with 13 to 12.
Josh Hart is keeping them afloat. Josh Hart has numbers that Brunson should already have, so he's keeping them afloat.
And to your point, Omar, with Mikal Bridges, he's also playing the most minutes out of everybody in the whole game with 21. So he's not only doing it all across both sides of the court, but he's also Iron Man right now, where he's been in the game longer than everybody else as well.
And he's capable.
The Big Bodega, 13 points. Josh Hart, 12. OG Anunoby, 9 points, 3 of 5. He's a +4. OG's a +4 right now.
If
He's
if
looking
I
like a
were
great game.
if I were
He's
the Knicks,
yeah,
I
he's
would
a,
feel pretty good that we're
me
up
too.
with only Brunson scoring two points. If I were the Cavs,
100.
I will also feel good, silver lining for both teams that they're only down that, right?
Until Brunson
Um,
turns it up, though, Flores. Once Brunson turns it up,
yeah, but they're
they're gonna
shooting
be.
37% from the field,
But we're talking about Brunson.
and they're
It
not
ain't
they're
gonna
not
matter
getting
in the
close.
second half. If he can have a better performance in the second half, it ain't gonna matter what he did in the first half if they can manage to win. It ain't gonna matter. Because that's what Brunson does, unfortunately. Sometimes he has a cold game, and all of a sudden he'll come in the fourth quarter and drop 40.
Yeah.
That's true.
This one looks more like maybe like a battle of the others,
Hmm.
and the big men. So
So
I
so
think Cat probably the X factor on this one.
if it continues to go this route, do you guys see this still going the Knicks way? Do you think that Cleveland can run away with a win before they head off to
I don't.
Cleveland? Or
No, I don't think the Cavs have any chance of winning this game. I don't think so. Because
no?
look at how Josh Hart is playing. Josh Hart doesn't even really put up these numbers sometimes. He's more of a rebounder, gritty defensive player. And he's putting on 12 points. Imagine when Brunson turns it up and scores, let's say, 15 or 20.
But you
Cat.
could say the same thing on the other side with Mobley and Allen. They don't normally play like that, but they're willing the Cavs right now with Mitchell with only 2 for 6. He can also turn up the same way Brunson can.
Yeah,
Obviously not to the same level, but
but I
I
think the X
mean,
factor here, Macho, is OG. If
we can't
OG,
say that either because he does have the record and a half from the last previous series.
yeah, but
he
OG,
does. That's
like
true.
OG and Bridges are going to be the X factor, as one of my opinion, defensively. If they can, this is the term that I always use. Stop. You can't stop an NBA like some NBA players from scoring. You
Hmm.
can slow
Hmm.
them down. That's what I used to
Hmm.
tell people when Kawhi Leonard used to defensively match up with LeBron. He's not going to stop LeBron. He's going to slow him down, which
He's
is
gonna
what
make him work.
yeah, you're gonna make him
Hmm.
work for your points. You're gonna get your bucket, but guess what? I'm gonna physically exhaust you. I'm gonna put my hand in your face, and you're gonna be tired. You're just not gonna drive around me and just make it to the basket easily. I'm gonna push you, put a hand in your face, and that's what I think OG and Mikal Bridges are gonna do with Mitchell and Harden. They're gonna give him a hard time.
Yo, Torres, yeah, I was gonna say, Jets Worldwide has a little message for you.
He doesn't want to talk about coming over to the Knicks. No, no. So he says the Knicks is also sweeping the Cavs. He says Macho come over. Hold on, actually, matter of fact, do I have? Yeah, let's go over here. Let's go over here. Just pull them all up at the same time. So I ain't got to keep bringing them up. There we go. There we go.
Flores, I know you see the chat. Macho,
I'm not joining the Knicks. It's not happening. It's never happening. I do think that you guys are going to win this series. I think that it's so. Flores, you said that they matched up pretty well. I kind of don't think they do. I think when it comes to the starters, maybe, but like when you look at the whole team in totality, I think that the Knicks match up with the Cavs very well, but the Cavs don't match up with the Knicks very well because most of the Knicks players are kind of defenders, unless you're talking about Brunson or Towns, which I like that they did that this year. They made sure they got an Alvarado. They make sure they kept Landry Shamet, who was very good defensively last year. I think that the X factor for them is that they have great defenders, and then the Cavs, obviously, there's 1 to 2 people that you have to worry about scoring. I think that they're happy with Mobley having 14. Like, we'll let him eat, but Donovan Mitchell cannot put up the buckets that he's putting up these whole playoffs. James Harden can't put up the buckets that he should be putting up in these playoffs. So I think the Knicks just overpower them.
I would typically agree, but I mean, if you look at the bench minutes, it's Jordan Clarkson, which I thought was going to be like, okay, the
Yo,
Knicks are going to be it. They're really going to run through the East. I mean, he's only played 4 minutes. He hasn't really lived up to the hype that we
afterthought.
thought. Yeah, that
Hmm.
we thought he was gonna have. And Alvarado in the playoffs, yes, when he first came to New York, of course, he had a massive little
Yeah.
spurt of games here and all that, which is awesome. But after in the playoffs, again, everything just changes, and you start relying on your starters and all that. That's why I think like it's mostly like starters versus starters, and I trust a little bit more like a Max Strus because of the Heat experience, and I think that's
Okay.
probably more PTSD from me rooting
Yeah.
against the Heat all the time, and then for whatever reason they made the finals and it would piss me off. So maybe that's just me just trying to like get over that by therapy, what talking to a microphone. Um, so I kind of like viewed Cleveland just a little bit more on the bench side of things. But really, I mean, you're probably right. As far as starters go, yeah, they match up, but then New York can and should honestly be better. But as far as the minutes are telling the story, not really.
And then Omar, Jets
Yeah.
Worldwide wants to know if you are a Jets fan.
No, I am not. I am a Bills fan. Sorry.
He's an enemy. He's an op. Get him,
Sorry.
Jets Worldwide. Get him.
My
Get him.
bad. But
No.
but I do say I do support the Jets and the Giants. I support New York.
I will say that. Even though you are a Bills fan, I've never heard you speak ill
No.
of the
I
Jets.
will never say that because New York is New
Yeah.
York. Now the
Yeah.
Patriots, ugh.
Yeah, all of us here hate them.
That's a
Yeah.
fact.
Regardless, yeah,
is a
regardless.
fact.
If you're a Bills, Jets, Steelers fan, can't stand them. Can't stand anything from Boston.
Yeah. But we're gonna wrap it up here. Let's go off to this section over here so I can give you guys a chance to get off. So I can give you guys a chance to get off whatever is on your chest. Let me take this down real quick. Give me 1 second. And I'm gonna be starting off with you, Omar. I want to ask you to just get off with anything that's on your chest here as we are finishing the broadcast. Give me 1 second. Boom, bam. All right, the floor is yours.
I'm gonna keep it brief. Just worldwide. Come on, man. He can't disconnect my feed. I'm part of the show, man. He allows me to be here. But anyways, guys, enjoy basketball and enjoy. Like Macho said earlier, we're seeing generational superstars. We're watching LeBron retire. We got people like Wemby, Ant, Luca. Let's enjoy the time that they're in. Let's just enjoy the game. That's what I have to say this week.
I love that. I love that. And then Daniel, the floor is yours.
So I don't want to get anything off my chest because I have the boys here on my chest,
Hey.
close to my heart. What I do want to get off my leg is this damn cast I have after having surgery on my Achilles. I'm dying. The crutches. I was about to throw them in the recycling bin, and my wife said, "No, you still need them." I'm like, "No, forget you." But anyways, that's a whole separate conversation.
And then you rolled out the
Dying.
room.
Yeah, right. Then I had a like army crawl because I can't move, bro. I like there's
Oh my
when I get up from
God.
here after this, I'm gonna roll literally from the chair to the door because that's where the crutches are because that's how far I can throw them because I still need them to move around. I'm just dying to get this thing over with and then be back to my normal self of walking like a normal person. So that's the only thing I wanted to get out there. And I'm sorry I was late today, guys. Work was hell, and then also being a dad of a toddler. If you have a toddler, you just know what that means.
Yeah, I know.
Enough
I
said.
definitely know.
Enough said right there. Well, all you got to say is toddler, and that's it. But thank
Yep.
you guys so much for stopping by. This has been episode 22 of Macho Talk Sports. That is Omar. That is Daniel. I have been Macho. Thank you guys so much. Enjoy your sports.